Hi there, folks. I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. And I'm offering you this devotion as a balm for the heart, for the mind, for the spirit and the soul. It is titled Living on the Growing Edge of the Serenity Prayer. A friend posted a meme the other day. It was a cartoon illustration of two characters standing on the end of the year, on top of the year, if you like. One is standing there looking anxious. The other is on their knees, seemingly. It looks like they're gardening or doing something. The character standing asks, "Why are you so optimistic about the new year? What do you think it will bring?" While the kneeling character replies, "I think it will bring flowers." The first character then asks, "Yeah, how come?" To which the kneeler replies, "Because I'm planting flowers." The kneeling character is planting flowers, an act of faith in action, I would say. He wants to see flowers, you've got to plant the flowers. Life can feel completely out of control at times. It can feel uncertain, like we're being battered around. We can feel powerless over what might happen in our lives. This can cause anxiety and lead us to cling more tightly to things, to try and hold on to them. But the truth is, we do not know for certain what's coming in life. If the last 2 years have taught us anything, then surely it's finally taught us this truth about life. That said, there is much we can do. There is much that we have a great say in. While we are not gods, we cannot control the spheres. We do play a role in life. We're part of life. So by planting our own versions of the cartoon characters' flowers, we can be pretty sure that we will bring flowers. The seeds we sow make a whole lot of difference in life, not only for ourselves, but for others' lives too. Never think that you are insignificant. Never think that you do not matter. You do matter. You really do. Please believe that. While we cannot shape the oceans, we can impact on the little bit of space in which we do live and breathe and share our being. What we do and what we do not do really does matter. It really, really does, you know. So we can plant some flowers if flowers are what we want to bring to fruition in 2022. But we've first got to start by planting the flowers. Now, as anyone who knows me will gladly testify, I am no gardener. That said, despite not being a gardener, I do like a good gardening metaphor. And gardening is full of metaphors of the things that we must do in order to live well. We must prepare the soil and enrich it. We must plant and tend to the seeds. We must weed out whatever it is that stifles the flowers from growing. To enjoy a rich harvest, we must give our whole selves to the process without being sure what will come. We cannot guarantee the weather or other influential conditions, but we still must give ourselves wholeheartedly to the process. And not only for ourselves alone, but for others too. For such planting and growing is for others to enjoy, not just for ourselves alone. Now, isn't this life? We do what we can, and in so doing, we create something. That said, sometimes, even if we give everything, there can be a bad harvest. But does this mean we give up? Well, of course it doesn't. There is such joy in planting and sharing, and mostly we create something beautiful and wonderful if we give our whole hearts to our endeavours. But we must do so not only for ourselves alone, it's for all to share. No one lives this life alone. We cannot predict the future, but what we do in the present matters, it really does. It is easy to think that everything we say, do, and think has little or no meaning at all. That how we are has no real impact on the world in which we live. But is this true? Is what we do insignificant? It's easy to say that we're powerless, but is that true entirely? While we as individuals are not masters of the universe, that we are not the prime mover, what we do and do not do actually matters. We, each and every one of us, leaves an impact of some sort on this world of ours. It matters what we feel, what we think, what we say, and what we do, or for that matter, what we don't. It really does matter what we do and what we do not do. No, we are not the ocean, but we're a part of what makes up the seas. No less or more important than anybody else. Yes, of course, we have to accept reality as reality is, but that is not the whole answer. It is just an element in the process. It really depends what we do from this place of acceptance of reality. It's not a passive thing, acceptance. Now, this brings to mind the wonderful universal prayer, the Serenity Prayer, of which there are many, many versions throughout the world. The following short one is probably the best known. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I'm sure you've heard it. The Serenity Prayer is one of the great prayers, I think. It's simple, practical, and beautifully universal. You'll find it anywhere. It speaks powerfully to the heart and soul of so many people, and has been doing so ever since it was first written, I think, to end a sermon by Reinhold Niebuhr in the 1930s. You know, I even got into a conversation about the Serenity Prayer in a remote village in Transylvania when I went there for a trip over 10 years ago. And experiencing this little house in a village called Ickland, where there was no electricity, no water, just a few souls gathered together sharing their experiences of life. And I got into a conversation with a woman called Elizabeth there, who shared about her anxieties and her troubles and her worries. And I said, and how she was accepting them while doing what she can in life. And I said, that sounds like the Serenity Prayer. And as those words were translated to Elizabeth, out of her handbag, she produced the Serenity Prayer in Hungarian. I couldn't read it. Just thought, this message truly is universal. It transcends so much. Now, as the Serenity Prayer teaches, the key to life is always about finding the wisdom to know the difference. The key to life is discernment. We need to be able to discern, to sift out what needs to be let go of, what needs to be accepted, and what needs to change either internally or externally. We need to know what to do. That's where the wisdom comes. It requires discernment, though. Now, I love the Serenity Prayer for many reasons, but primarily because it's a humble prayer, it's an honest prayer, and it's an open prayer. It is not a petition demanding that the universe conform to our will. Instead, it is asking for guidance and strength to do our part and to see what our part is, whilst also accepting the realities of the world in which we live and breathe and share our being. Finally, it also points to the fact that we need to discover the wisdom to know what our stuff is, what our stuff is not also, and what is within our power to change. It's not passive, just accepting reality. It's the wisdom to know the difference. The Serenity Prayer is not a passive prayer about simply accepting the status quo. It's quite the opposite, actually. I see a lot of faith and works in these simple words. It is a prayer about seeking out what we can do and doing what we can do. Why are you so optimistic about the new year? What do you think it will bring? I think it will bring flowers. Yeah, how come? Because I'm planting flowers. If no one plants any flowers, there will be no flowers. Now, the planting of the flowers brings some other wisdom to my mind. This is Howard Thurman's concept of the growing edge. Here in these following couple of paragraphs, he describes The Growing Edge by Howard Thurman. Look well to the growing edge. All around us worlds are dying and new worlds are being born. All around us life is dying and life is being born. The fruit ripens on the tree. The roots are silently at work in the darkness of the earth against a time when there shall be new leaves, fresh blossoms, green fruit. Such is the growing edge. It is the extra breath from the exhausted lung, the one more thing to try when all else has failed, the upward reach of life when weariness closes in upon all endeavour. This is the basis of hope in moments of despair, the incentive to carry on when times are out of joint and men and women have lost their reason, the source of confidence when worlds crash and dreams whiten into ash. Such is the growing edge incarnate. Look well to the growing edge. The call to look well to the growing edge is the call of courage, of hope, rather than of fear and despair, despite the very real troubles present in life. Yes, it does seem, to quote Thurman, that the times are out of joint and people have lost their reason, while worlds crash and dreams whiten into ash. That said, instead of descending into despair, let's plant some flowers. Let's plant some flowers as a commitment to life and living, and in so doing, we will look well to the growing edge. For this is the basis of hope in moments of despair, the incentive to carry on. So let's carry on. By the way, carrying on is not hopeless idealism. Thurman certainly was not some hopeless idealist. He was a black man born into a culture of white supremacy, just one generation from his grandmother's experience of enslavement. He knew from experience, real lived experience, that new life is born even in the midst of horror. It is easy, it is lazy, it is, dare I say, cowardly to indulge in cynicism and fatalism and to claim that we are powerless in the midst of life, just to give up on life and not bother planting any flowers. What's the point? They're not going to come anyway. This is not life. For if this was life, nothing would ever have changed. We'd still be living in the trees, probably, or in the caves. There would be no progress. The growing edge is about accepting reality as it is and then doing what you can with what you have. It's about planting those seeds of hope. If you don't plant them, then nothing changes, nothing grows. Yes, of course, we need to accept reality as it is right here, right now. That's a starting point. That said, we also need to find the courage to plant our flowers, to live on the growing edge, to discover the wisdom, to know the difference, and to do what is not only in our power, but what's our responsibility, and our responsibility not only to ourselves, but to humanity, to life itself. For this is the essence of freedom, to be responsible for what is yours. It's vital to be that in life, to play our role fully in life, not to simply let go passively. So I'm going to end this devotion with a question for you. You don't have to answer it, but it'd be nice if you did. Come back with your answers. I'd love to hear from you. But what I'd like to know is, what is your growing edge? What is it that you want to grow? What is yours to bring to life in this our shared world? What is your responsibility? What are you going to do? Whatever it is will not come to fruition instantly, though. It's not a sudden quick fix, this. It will grow slowly, almost imperceptibly. It may not be realized in our own lifetimes, but it will grow all the same. Rather like the plants and the flowers will grow that require patient care and attention. But they will only grow if we plant them and do our part in nurturing them. It's an act of faith, if ever there was one. So you may well ask, why are you so optimistic about the new year? What do you think it will bring? Well, I think it will bring flowers. Yeah, how come? Because I'm planting flowers. So let's go plant some flowers. Amen. So I'm going to end this devotion with a few words of blessing. You know, we need to bless more. And you know what? We can all bless. And we bless by giving our whole hearts to life, by planting those flowers. So let's begin now by giving our whole hearts to life. So let's return to the world once more in good health and good humour, filled with this sense of belonging. Come on, let's go plant some flowers and let's nurture them and let's watch them grow. Let's live on the growing edge, for this is life. Come, let's connect with all that is, all that has been, and all that will ever be. Let's go out into our world filled with life, filled with joy, filled with love. And may we carry that love with us, and may we do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do. Amen. Blessed be.